and gentlemen, let's go. Gaming, tech, culture.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's go.
Hit it. You're listening to the Cool Black Nerd Podcast, presented by Say What Radio.
All right, well, we'd like to welcome everybody to episode number 24, Chromium, of the Cool Black Nerd Podcast. I'm your host, Jules. I'm joined by everybody's favorite co-host, Justice.
Hello.
You know what? If you're going to say it like that, you are no longer everybody's favorite co-host. I don't know what that was.
I'm just trying to get in your good graces. It just seems to be that if you have an accent, you seem to be a lot more.
Well, I don't know what you just did.
What episode is this? Are we
It's
on
episode number 24.
24 Chromium? Okay.
Chromium.
All right.
Mm-hmm. That's what it is. So, you know what, guys? This is probably going to be the first time in a while where in the previous episode, we said, we're going to touch on that next time. So let's go ahead and jump into it with this bite-sized content.
Everybody's favorite. So last time we talked about the kind of like the parrot, especially for something like Quibi, a good model when you think about it. Because, I mean, you have platforms like TikTok blowing up. Instagram stories are crazy. Hell, Facebook has stories. Even freaking YouTube has shorts, little stories that you can do. So clearly there is, like this trend for bite-sized content. So we had our resident researcher extraordinaire, Mariah, help us with a little bit with some of this, these facts and these numbers. For instance, just in general, previously they were saying that people who looked at bite-sized content or whatnot, it was always more in the larger sense. In 2000, our screens were a lot bigger and we were looking at them a lot less. Now, seems like our screens have gotten a little bit smaller and our attention spans as well. So previously we were hitting, in year 2000, we were looking at them, 12 seconds. Now, attention span, if you haven't got them by 8.25 seconds, they are moving on. So you had me at 12 seconds in 2015, it dropped to 8.25 seconds.
So you just mean like the amount of time that I'm going to watch it before I decide to move on?
Yeah.
Huh, okay, that's interesting.
That's crazy. Like, I didn't even think about that, but you're very right. I will definitely, even now, I've gotten into TikTok a little bit and I love the challenges. Always, I don't know how they be so creative with this. Like, they'll come out of here with nothing. Like the ones where Marley, I believe her name is Marley Steves. She looks to be like she's a gymnast or whatnot, and she's very toned. And when she does her dances or whatever, people have like stitched together her pulling them or doing something to them. And that is just hilarious to me. Then we got the Bust It Challenge. And, in the beginning, that was to show women or people having body yaddy and looking nice. And people have taken that and, made it comedy stuff. My favorite Bust It Challenge is the guy turning into Bernie Sanders.
That's a good one. I will admit that is a good one. You know what? All I can do is agree. And the only way I can put it is this way. Because, I mean, at this point, you and I, we're not spring chickens no more. These kids are really just coming. I don't know how they come up with this stuff, but I got to give it to them. They have mastered like this bite-sized content, social media stuff. Like they're just really, really good at it.
But as I was saying, like, I'm so immersed into it. If sad to say it, now that we're talking about it, I feel kind of bad saying it out loud. Like, I'm looking at this and I already know that it cannot go more than 60 seconds on TikTok. But in even the ones that I see that are 60 seconds, I'm like, this first 5 seconds, you ain't got me. I'm swiping.
I'm done.
Like they're sitting there talking. Okay, today I went to the store, swipe.
Yeah.
I don't even know what's going to happen. It's just automatic with me right now. I feel so bad saying that.
I don't know. Like I was saying previously, I think you just have an expectation for how long the content is going to be based on whatever platform it is. And I think it also has to do with what you're doing at the same time. We mentioned how Quibi was trying to fill in the gap, like as you were maybe commuting to and from work or something like that, riding the bus, riding the school bus, whatever. But I don't think that a cell phone is the right place for that type of content. Like even me. So I watch YouTube way more than I do anything like TikTok or Instagram and stuff like that. So if I see a video on YouTube on my phone and I see that it's like longer than 5 minutes, I'm probably just gonna save that video for later and watch it on my TV. And I agree. Like if there's a video that I think I'm interested in and you're not talking about what I was thinking about within the first 10 seconds, I'm done. I'm good. I don't need to hear the rest of whatever you got to say. It's no longer important to me. And I don't know why it's like that, but it is.
One of the biggest reasons that they were saying, of course, Vine being the predecessor to this, that was the model to showcase that the bite-sized content really was something that people were clamoring for. And also it was for the younger, as you said, the younger Gen Z age group, the 16 to 24-year-olds, basically taking the appeal of the, I guess, kind of like slapstick, funniest home videos, dumbest criminal type things, and just putting it in that little bitty time frame, and it just worked. Another thing that they're saying is, TikTok is very convenient to do. The editing is very easy. That's one thing about it. If you guys are looking for a great editor, even if you're not on TikTok to use it to look at the bite-sized content or whatever, the editor on TikTok is freaking amazing to be just a free app. I'm not gonna lie. Some of those things I've paid for in previous editing tools, and that is crazy. So that's one of the other things. And they're saying the third one is basically, and I think this goes back to what we've always kind of talked about, the algorithms and the AI that's behind all of this, allowing so many companies to have access to your data and your habits and things like that,
Yeah.
and them just being able to make that into an amazing algorithm to show you the stuff that is going to be appealing to you.
Yeah, for better or worse, appealing to you for sure.
Because they have the best, the For You page is the best. I mean, previously for Facebook, it was, the news feed. It's crap. It is crap now. I'm sorry. I'm rarely on Facebook for anything. We have our Facebook page that is run by a wonderful social media manager, but I am rarely on there. I tell you that all the time. I'm either on Instagram or on TikTok, and we have all of those for Say What Radio. I don't believe we have one for Cool Black Nerd, but keep on the lookout.
We're gonna have to hire one of these Gen Z kids for TikTok. I ain't gonna lie to you, I can't.
Yeah. Like I did a couple videos on there, and we've uploaded some other stuff on the Say What Radio page. We got a total of, I think, 25 followers compared to us hitting 13K on Instagram. Awesome. But TikTok, that ain't nothing now. If you ain't, hitting it on TikTok, nobody care.
Yeah.
But that For You page was genius. It really, really was, and still is. I don't ever even look at my following page. I'm just on that FY page. That's it. That's it.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, I mean, hey, all I can say, more power to TikTok. They survived that little hiccup they had where they were about to get banned.
That was a good one.
So I mean, good for them. Good for everybody who enjoys it. I'm glad to see, the bite-sized content. I'm curious to see where everything kind of goes from here. I can say this too: the landscape for entertainment is changing. Cable companies, hey, you got to start embracing some of this stuff somehow.
I wonder though,
when you start seeing, like, I'm just saying, like, think about streaming services now, and then the supplementary entertainment that you have on your phone, or stuff that's like mobile, like this bite-sized content. Like, I mean, there's not a lot of people who would say that they actually need cable.
Think about this. Because in the beginning, when people were doing the cord cutting, as they say, it was mainly to save money from the cable packages, which were insane. The channels you didn't want. And I remember working for Comcast at one point in time, and so many times the customers would ask, can I just get the channels that I want? I don't want all these other stuff. And usually the packages that the channels that I want are in there. Can I just a la carte these channels? And it's just like, no, they come as a package deal.
Mhm.
So people were just like, okay, if that's the case, none of the stuff I'm watching, Netflix is good. I'll just cut the cord on that. Then Hulu came along. Then you have right now Disney Plus. You have Paramount Plus, which used to be CBS All Access and Peacock. And I mean, it's becoming where should you just go back to cable and get all of those channels? Because that starts to add up after a while.
It definitely adds up, but I mean, I'm still leaning towards no. I have a lot of packages. Like I have Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, Netflix, Amazon Prime Video.
Mm.
I don't even know. I just have all kinds of stuff. And does it cost as much as cable used to? Honestly, doesn't feel like it does. I honestly don't think that it does. Last time I added it up, I told you guys how much I was spending. But when I consider what a regular cable package is, plus I was going to get HBO, I'm going to get, stars or whatever. When I add all that up, I still think it's less. And I can watch what I want to watch when I get ready at all times. Like, and I know, cable has on demand, but it's not quite the same.
At all.
For a lot of shows, if I feel like, hey, I just want to watch this whole season, I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
That may not always be available on demand. I think you just have so much more choice with these streaming services that cable is really becoming obsolete. I was going to say this too. You mentioned like a lot of people want that a la carte, like the chance to just choose what they want to watch. The only way to do that right now is to take advantage of these streaming services. And I think that the content providers, for the most part, are going to end up cutting out the cable companies unless the cable companies just buy them all up, which, we've seen some of that happening like with AT&T, owning HBO.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, for the most part, though, the content providers have adapted. A lot of them are coming out with their own streaming services, or they have deals for their shows to appear on some kind of streaming service somewhere. And I just have more flexibility with what I want to spend my money on.
I think that is the biggest takeaway for a lot of people. It gives you more of, okay, as you said, I don't like this necessarily, but I can deal with it for that. And this is the only thing that I think will always be a hindrance to cable, kind of like what you were saying. Even if they wanted to offer the on-demand type stuff and they had all seasons showing or something like that, they're still going to have a crap ton of ads in those. And most of the time, people just don't want to watch those commercials.
Mm-mm.
Like I just want, and they have the functionality to be able to skip the commercials in some of them. But at that point, it's just like, why is it even there?
I agree. I don't know. As an experience, it needs to change. And, maybe we'll see that. Maybe we won't.
Yeah. Somebody's got to pay for it, though. And usually it's paid for in advertising. So, but as we've seen, people will pay a premium to not watch those ads.
To not watching the ad. Yep. I will.
I definitely do. I actually have Peacock as a option for mine because I just have the internet service and it comes with it for free, but it's the ad version. I've never signed up for it. I'm like, don't want it. I'm not watching the ads. I don't see the point.
I was just about to say something that I noticed this weekend as I was watching. I can't remember what show it was I was watching, but it caught me off guard when an ad came on. Like, that's how long it's been since I've watched, or how used to watching something that doesn't have ads that I've become like. I actually saw a commercial and was like, what the hell is this? What is this? Why am I seeing this? Like, the only time I expect commercials is when I'm watching sports at this point. Otherwise, I don't expect them at all. It's even weird when I watch a show that, obviously, if you're watching like an older show, it originally had commercials because it aired on just regular TV.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to see the breaks where the commercials would be is like jarring now. Because, it'll just cut from like one scene to another one. It's like, wait, what the fuck just happened here? Oh, that's where a commercial would have been. Like, it'll fade to black and then come back in on some totally different stuff happening. You just like, what is that? What? Why?
Oh, my bad.
So
I didn't even think about it like that. I mean, you're right. The way everything is going about is really changing. Even the ad-supported version of shows that go on like Peacock or say, for instance, Hulu or whatever, they've been very good at being able to cut it before that to make it look like it's streamlined in some sense. And like you said, just kind of looks a little wonky sometimes because it's like, why did he jump from over there? But okay.
Yep. I don't know. So speaking of industries that need to adapt, we got to touch on it. GameStop, man. Oh my goodness.
I wanted so bad to ask you about this, but I was like, we got to talk about it on the show. I have to hear what you want to say. I have to.
Oh man. First of all, I want to say I'm proud of everybody at Wall Street Bets.
Yes.
I think
you guys are the real MVP.
I think what's happening, it's very funny to me. Oh, there's some, I don't even know where to start. I'm just going to start by saying, what's going on, like what is happening with GameStop and a bunch of other stocks. If you guys are familiar with short selling or not familiar with it, I'm going to try to explain it very simply here, pretty briefly. So short selling is when an investor or a hedge fund or some kind of brokerage fund, like they will borrow a stock at a certain price and betting on it to drop and then sell it back and try to take that as profits. So the easiest way to think about it is, okay, let's say there's a company named Jules Co. And Jessica thinks Jules Co. is terrible, right? She thinks it sucks. So she says it's clearly like the stock price of Jules Co. is going to go down. So what you do is you borrow my stock. Let's say it's at $10, right? Mm-hmm. So you borrow it at $10 from somebody else. And then my price drops to $5. And at that point, you sell it and you have to give it back to the original person, but now it's only worth $5. So you give it back to them at $5 and you keep that $5 profit, that difference that was made. Mm-hmm. So that's what short sellers are doing to companies that they think aren't doing well, or at least that's what they're supposed to be doing. It's supposed to be companies that aren't doing well, that you think the stock price are going to go down. But the way the stock market works now, people are able to see when other investors or hedge funds are shorting a stock. So they will also go in and short that stock as well. So it could be a company that is perfectly healthy, but if enough of them get together and short a stock, everybody starts thinking, oh, this is my opportunity to make some money because the stock is going to go down. And it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. Everybody starts selling because based on what I'm seeing on Wall Street, everybody expects this stock to go down. So I need to sell it now. And when everybody starts selling, inevitably what happens? The price goes down and the short sellers make money. It's kind of like they could just get together and short a stock all at once and guarantee that they're going to make money, right? Like, why wouldn't you do that? Like, who's going to stop you? As long as you don't have emails and messages going back and forth explicitly saying this is what we're doing, right? I'm hedge fund A. I just happen to see that hedge fund B and hedge fund C are shorting a stock. Let me go in here and short it too.
They've been doing that for years, right?
Been doing that for years and years and years and years and years. So what happened this time? GameStop. And we've talked about GameStop before on this podcast. Everybody knows how I feel about GameStop personally. I don't think it's a very good company. And it is a stock that probably should have been shorted. But the folks over at Wall Street Bets on Reddit, man, they said enough is enough. We tired of the big guys controlling the narrative. We tired of them controlling what's going on with these companies. We're tired of them, essentially just stealing our money. You saw what happened when the real estate bubble burst.
Yeah,
and the economy was trash.
They got a bailout and the little guy didn't.
Yeah, exactly. They got a bailout and they just kept on printing money on the money press.
Doing the same thing that got them in that situation to begin with. Exactly.
So these guys at Wall Street Bets said it's not going to happen this time. They started buying the shit out of GameStop stock. So 2 weeks ago, that stock was at $17. The last time I checked it, it's at $330.
Oh, well, the last time I checked.
Well, I think it got up to a peak. Got up to a peak of 420.
Yeah.
And I think now it's trading at 330. And we're going to talk about that too, because you want to talk about some market manipulation. We need to find out what's going on with Robinhood and some of these other trading apps that's claimed they were going to democratize the market and make it easy for everybody to trade. But anyway, so that really, with that stock price being that high, these hedge funds have only had like a certain amount of time to close out their shorts positions. And since that stock went up 300 to 330 or more, as a result, they still had to sell that stock back to, whoever they borrowed it from. But now the price is 330 a share instead of the $17 that you borrowed it at.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to run me my coins. So a lot of these hedge funds are just bleeding money. I've seen a few of, 15 billion, 19 billion. There was one, Melvin Capital, that actually had to get some other hedge funds to give them billions of dollars so that they could stay in business. I've seen reports that one hedge fund actually had to declare bankruptcy completely. Yep. I have not, I don't know which one that is. I will admit I haven't seen a name for that one. So I don't know how true that is, or maybe they're trying to keep the name of that one private. But man, all I can say is, hey, you got played at your own game. The same thing you've been doing, they did it on Wall Street bets. They're winning for now. I mean, based on what I know about the stock market, they're probably not going to continue to win. I mean, you can look at it, billionaires ain't going to let you just...
Well, I don't know. I mean, when you have people like Elon Musk going like Wall Street bets, GameStop, please keep, going basically. And the previous co-founder of, I think it's PayPal and Facebook or something, also saying the same thing. There's a lot of support.
You're right. There's a lot of support from a few, let's say, well-known billionaires, but the hedge funds ain't too happy about it. The people at the SEC ain't happy about it. And you know what? I want to know what's going on with like Robinhood and some of these other apps so Robinhood stopped letting people buy GameStop.
Yeah, you could only sell it. Is that correct?
Yeah, you could only sell it. So when you talk about market manipulation, if I can only sell and I do that, the price is going to go down. But demand for that stock is very high right now.
Mm-hmm.
And the way the market is supposed to work, we don't consider why it's high. People are supposed to be able to, if they want to buy a stock, they should be able to buy it, right?
Yeah. I mean, that was the whole point of like E-Trade and the E-Trade baby and all the rest of it, to make it, demystify the stock market in the financial services area. So, but I have a question on why the SEC is a little bit perturbed on this, because what they're doing isn't necessarily legal, right?
It's questionable because it's supposed to be illegal to manipulate the market in a way. So you should not be able to get together with a group of people and say, hey, we're just going to buy the shit out of this stock to raise the price. Or we're just going to get together and short sell this stock to lower the price. You're not supposed to be able to do that. But that's exactly what happens. Like, you have hedge funds that are solely dedicated to shorting a stock, and they will put out all of the negative information about a company that they can find to make sure that the stock price goes down. You have hedge funds, like I said, that obviously they're smart enough not to have a paper trail. But like I said, hedge fund A is shorting the stock. Hedge fund B is shorting the stock. So hedge fund C and D are like, I'm going to short the stock too. Or vice versa. You see on Wolf of Wall Street, like just overselling a stock to whoever to just get people to buy it, to pump up the price and then sell it. And then everybody who you convinced to buy it, now they have to deal with the crash as people start selling out of it. That's why I say it's questionable, because you've been letting people on Wall Street do this for years with no consequences. But now you got a bunch of Reddit bros that just are going crazy talking about game stonk. Talking about we riding this rocket to the moon, trying to encourage everybody to have diamond hands and not sell, just hold the stock forever. Now it's a problem. Why is it a problem now that, like you said, like now that the 99% have figured out how to take advantage of it?
I also had a question on when this all started, whatnot. Everybody, as you said, we've already talked about GameStop. Everybody already knew this and that. And Wall Street Bets is an open forum, and people have been talking about this for a while.
And I think that's another part of it that makes it say, like, how questionable is it? Because it's not like this is happening in private.
Mm-hmm.
Like anybody can go to Reddit and see what's going on. And when you think about it that way, I mean, there's television programs where people are giving quote unquote stock tips. Like everybody knows
Yeah, exactly.
Jim Cramer mashing all the buttons, making the sounds. So
Yeah, and that's exactly what my question was going to be. Is like, so how could any of the stock tip shows and other, is that not market manipulation in some way?
exactly. I mean, I'm an investor. I have like this. I've signed up and pay for this thing that gives me stock tips. Like clearly, they could easily manipulate the market by
Yeah,
telling me to go buy something, and whoever else is subscribed to it, we all go buy it and pump up the price. So those type of things, all of that is market manipulation, right?
yeah.
Okay, then. So what's exactly? So what? Why is it all of a sudden a problem now?
That's real funny because all these years they keep, the American dream is, to be able to find your opportunity and make this. And there's some people who have been able to wipe out all of their debt, period. Some of these people were struggling to begin with and were like, hey, I did this and all my student loan is gone. Other people were, there's one guy, if I'm not mistaken, I think he put like $50,000 worth of this in there, and he, keeps posting on Wall Street Bets about what he's actually making, and he's come up. I think the last check that he showed was like 50 million.
Yeah, probably so. So that they're saying that there's like one guy who's like he kind of started.
Yeah.
Username was it was deep fucking value. And they actually ended up doing an article on him. I think it was the New York Times or Washington Post, one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of revealed himself. And yeah, like this dude has made a ridiculous amount of money. He claims to not have sold yet, but I mean, I would have, but whatever. And yeah, and like you said, there are people who, I mean, for a lot of people, it's turned out to be a blessing. Like you can go look in Wall Street Bets right now. And what's funny is that the people are kind of apologetic about it when they post it. They're like, hey, all of my other GameStop bros, I love you, but man, I had these student loans that I was trying to pay off. So I had to sell and I paid my student loans. Or, my mom had surgery. I just was trying to get this debt paid off. And they're actually like posting the receipts from paying like 50, 60, 80, $100,000, $200,000 just thanks to this craze that's happening right now.
This is the thing. For years, I've always heard, don't buy lottery tickets because it's not worth it. It's waste of money. Put your money in the stock market. But a lot of those people don't know how to use the stock market. They didn't know what necessarily to do. And the people who knew, they weren't trying to help you. You weren't making the money. So why not? So it was just really, really good to see these people in Wall Street Bets be able to do this and also give a lot of information as well as education to people on this can be done. You don't have to do, I hate to say it, but a lot of people of color, their retirement plan is I'm hitting the lottery. And that's sad because they don't know anything and nobody wants to necessarily help them.
Right.
So this is essentially them hitting the lottery and doing it how, quote unquote, they say the right way.
It is. Yeah, it is. For a lot of people, it is definitely hitting the lottery. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I wish I had got in on it. I wish I had known about it.
Yeah.
When it was still $17 a share. And even saying that, I'm going to be honest with you, I would not have had the courage that these people have had. Like, there's people who are literally like, I liquidated my 401k, all of my savings, everything, and I bought GameStop. Like, I would never have done that in my life. And, they've done it, and more power to them. Yeah. Like, there are people who legitimately have gone from nothing to millionaires.
Yeah.
From literally nothing to millionaires as a result of this.
Yep. And what's sad is I've been a Reddit user for God knows how long. I'm always on the Destiny Reddit and other Reddits and things like that. And I was in the Wall Street Bets Reddit, but just never looked in there. Never.
I mean, the truth is, before now, if it's something you weren't just interested in, you never would have.
Exactly.
Everything else they've been talking about in there before did not work out like this. Like that Reddit was actually, it got to a point where that Reddit, it was useful because, they would explain, different stock market concepts to people. But it was really just like a place where they would go in there and be like, oh, I totally failed today. I'm ruining my life.
That is so why I got in there. It was entertaining to read that shit. I'm not gonna lie, because there was a bug or something in the Robinhood app at one point in time that was allowing people to kind of short circuit the system where they could essentially have double of what they had in their wallet necessarily because of a flaw in Robinhood's system. So if you basically had 15,000 and you went to do like a payout, they would pay you 30,000, stuff like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And eventually the people who got caught, it was just hilarious to read them getting caught doing that. And that's honestly why I started getting into that red. But like you said, eventually I was just like, okay, that's all over. And the guy who was doing it wasn't posting anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And not gonna lie, a lot of the shit that they were talking about in there was going over my head.
Yeah.
So I just stopped paying attention and was looking for stuff on the raid secrets Reddit. Shit. That's one thing. That's a goal of mine this year, to get somebody on Cool Black Nerd to kind of give some tips and, educate our listeners on the stock market and what they can do and how they can do it, stuff like that. That really is a goal. And so if you have like an interest to do this, or you don't have to be specifically an expert, we would like you to have some knowledge in this and some experience in it, just to help those who are just trying to start out or what they can do. Because I think a lot of people believe that you have to have thousands of dollars to be able to start off in the stock market, when that's so not true.
Yeah, you don't. Not at all.
I thought that was hilarious. And what made that entire thing worth it is AOC and Ted Cruz back and forth. So as Jules said, Robinhood and a bunch of other supposed free market apps.
That's what's crazy about it to me. And all of these apps were created basically saying the same thing. We're making the stock market easy for the everyday person. We're bringing the stock market to you. Everybody can trade. We want everybody to have free access to the markets.
Mm-hmm.
And just SMH.
But apparently them doing that was just flagrant violation to a lot of people, AOC and a lot of lawmakers. And as we said, billionaires and those who are in the stock market or have a lot of knowledge of the stock market on the side of the people at the Wall Street Bets. Reddit basically voiced their support of these people. And I believe AOC specifically said, because she's on the Financial Services Committee, was like, well, I call for, there needs to be an investigation, a hearing, blah, 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 blah. And this should happen. Ted Cruz tweeted, fully agree, and, put like the little down sign pointing to what she had said, because he quoted her tweet. And I mean, it was immediate with her response of basically calling him out. I want to pull it up really quick.
Well, why are you looking at it? All I can say is Joe Biden said he was going to unify the country. And if Ted Cruz can agree with AOC, mission accomplished. And we only, we not even a month in.
Oh my God.
Oh,
so,
man.
Okay. This is her response to Ted Cruz. I'm happy to work with Republicans on this issue where there's common ground, but you almost had me murdered 3 weeks ago, so you can sit this one out. Happy to work with almost any other GOP that aren't trying to get me killed. In the meantime, if you want to help, you can resign. I was like, whoa. Shade.
Yeah, just a little bit, huh?
Yeah. And then again, in all her brilliance, that is her. She goes on and does a Twitch stream again, not too long after this, basically, her playing video games again. She had some technical difficulties in the beginning, but kind of putting herself out there again, because I'm pretty sure everyone saw that tweet. And at that time, they may have started, Googling her or whatnot. So now when you Google her, not only does that tweet come up, but her Twitch stream comes up.
Yeah. So, I mean, she's one of the youngest people in Congress. I can just go back to it again and say, I mean, that generation, although she's, closer to us, so she's probably our generation, but still, that generation, man, like they have mastered social media.
Social media. Yeah. Yeah.
Whether you like her or not, the one thing you do have to admit is that she is a master of getting her message out, and she's getting it out to the people that she wants to hear it. she is setting herself up for a future in politics.
Mm-hmm.
Like the people that she's talking to on Twitch, no, you're right. They might not be voting right now, but
They definitely will remember her.
yeah, they're gonna know who she is when they do start voting.
Mm,
So
yep, definitely. I mean, that was masterful. I mean, shit. I wish whoever her social media person can we get some of that, please? Save my radio. Fuck, dude.
I don't know.
Ah!
I don't know if you could afford that person.
I mean, it would pay for itself at some point. Shit. I wanted to kind of delve into this just a little bit because I thought this was funny. So everybody knows we have ride sharing that right now it's doing a pivot because not a lot of people want to be in someone else's car for whatever reason.
You know, for
Go-
whatever reason, you know why?
That's why I said. That's why I whispered COVID. Anyway.
Oh, you whispered. I didn't hear it. I was about to say I
Yeah,
didn't hear that.
it's supposed to be a joke. Thank you for
My
for
bad.
killing
Well,
that.
future generations who find this podcast on the moon or Mars, I'm putting it out there. We know why ain't nobody getting no Ubers right now.
So it really is, essential for them to be able to switch it up. So a lot of them have focused more on delivering things. Not only where are they delivering food, they're delivering packages, prescriptions, groceries, whatever you necessarily would need just in that space. So ride sharing is now going to space. Space.
Space.
Space.
Okay.
Space. So everybody got these satellites. So yeah. Some people can't get up there without, a ride with these satellites. So
I understand that. NASA doesn't go into space anymore. I don't know if people were aware of that or not. They don't. NASA doesn't launch rockets anymore.
no, they do not launch rockets, but they do still maintain a lot of the space research and initiatives that they did before. They pass that along to private, companies. But yeah, they pretty much do that. Yeah. I just thought that was funny that we need a ride sharing program for space satellites.
So what do you mean by that? Like, explain it. What are you talking about?
So basically, it is coming to the point where, if everybody wants all these, wonderful technology and everything like that, not all of it can be built, quote unquote, on Earth. A lot of that has to be done from satellites in space. And unfortunately, your company is able to create this technology and you have it, but you don't have the money to then launch this into space. SpaceX is like, hey, we got the means. Give me $10. I'll take you up there.
It ain't no $10.
I didn't know it ain't no $10, but you know what I mean. But that is mad creative, but also a little scary because when do we have too much stuff up there and it's just rocks and old satellites just hanging out up there that don't work no more?
Well, what is that movie? I don't know what movie it is. It kind of deals with that exact scenario. Was it Expanse? It was some movie with Sandra Bullock.
Oh, Gravity.
Gravity. Yeah. Gravity. That's what happens in Gravity. Like there's just too much stuff up there and it starts hitting other space trash, picking up momentum, and it just gets to the point where it's like we can't launch anything into space because the trash pile is unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably not gonna make it.
And right now, there's no regulations on that because as many regulations and laws that have been created, they're kind of outdated as far as technology is concerned nowadays. So right now, they could have as many as they want, and even a lot of committees and NASA themselves is like, we need to do something about this now because at some point there will be the collisions that can happen will end up having cascade effects. And similar to what happened in 2009, I don't know if you remember that, but there was a collision with the Russian space satellite and a U.S. communication satellite. And some of that debris came, people were just driving and they saw all this stuff coming down the sky. It looked like it was just raining meteorites. And that was basically it. It was the debris from that collision.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
So I thought that was very much interesting. So we had talked about GameStop. GameStop is something that seems like an anomaly, and we've also talked about Bethesda a few times. Bethesda being a publishing company for games, and they've created some great games such as Fallout and Elder Scrolls, Skyrim, stuff like that. they got bought by Microsoft a few months back. I want to say it was September, maybe October 2020. And initially we were kind of like, okay. It ups Microsoft's package for offering games, because that's one thing that pretty much sets them in a lower tier to Sony. Sony always has amazing games that come out exclusively to their hardware. And I think this may have been something necessarily that has worked for them, going, just kind of based off of the possibilities. So Microsoft purchased the parent company of Bethesda. So the parent company, I believe, is like Zenadit. Yeah, I cannot say that right. I'm sorry. Media, because I want to say Zenadea. That's what I want to say. The media part messes me up, but I want to say Zenadea, but my bad. They purchased a parent company, and that had Bethesda part of that, as well as some other studios to be able to make their games. So in that, just off that, people are like, oh shit, Microsoft is about to up their game in the exclusives department. So I'm going to go for this Xbox Series X that is coming out. And just off that hardware and the possibility of that alone, they purchased this company for $7.5 billion, and were able to make back in the last 3 months, just off the hardware sales alone, $15.5 billion. So they've already made back.
Oh wow!
They purchased for that twice over.
I got you. Okay.
And they purchased it in cash, so it wasn't no stock options, no none of that. So they've already made their money back just off the possibility of them doing this alone. I thought that was insane, considering everything going on with the pandemic, and we had the shortage of the consoles and things like that, and just the manufacturing hiccups that were occurring because of shutdowns for COVID. But looks like Microsoft may have done a great investment in this case. Skype and pretty much everything else they've done over the years ain't worked out, but still, maybe this is something that will work out for them. So we talked about Cyberpunk being one of the biggest, if not the biggest, game launch that didn't go as well as CD Projekt Red.
You know what? You're right. Let me say this too. I need to give this update. Despite all of the problems that this game has, it is officially the highest selling digital game. Not necessarily, hardware and digital combined, but the highest selling digital game of all time.
I wouldn't put it past it. I mean, the hype around this was amazing. So I definitely give them props for what they were able to pull off. Execution, they get a F-, all that. But so CD Projekt had to come out and basically say to a developer of a mod for Cyberpunk 2077, which allows you to interact with NPCs and other characters within the game in sexual ways. One of the modders was able to take the skin, Johnny
Silverhand,
who
is it's Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, basically just with a silver hand,
and it's voiced by Keanu Reeves, so it's Keanu.
Yeah, somebody was able to take that, copy it onto one of the characters that you can have sexual relationships with, and basically people have been using it like crazy, to the point that CD Projekt Red had to go like, if you use this, we are banning you. We banning the developer this damn mod. One, because Keanu didn't give any type of permission to be able to do this. And if you use it, you are now in, I believe they said, some sort of pornography, like celebrity pornography type thing. Yeah.
Oh, it got like serious.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. They got very serious with this. And they're like, this, you cannot do this, like, period. And if we catch you doing it, repercussions. So, like, it was really sad that they literally had to put out a statement that said at the top, please stop having sex with Keanu Reeves.
That's still funny. All right. Even though they were very serious with it, if that was,
yeah,
if that's their headline, that's funny. And yeah, I mean, the game got a lot of problems, y'all. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. That's all I can say. I'll also say this too. I played the game on Stadia, did not have any game-breaking issues. I personally did have some funny things happen that were like obviously bugs, but they were just funny. Like it didn't stop me from playing the game. I enjoyed it. Pretty good game. Open world. It's like, it's going to sound silly for me to say that it's an adult version of Grand Theft Auto, but it is. It's just somehow more adult themed than Grand Theft Auto. without just being porn. Although, I mean, clearly, I guess it can be porn, which you should not do, obviously, because as their statement from CD Projekt Red says, I'm sure that Keanu Reeves' contract does not allow for that. And you, by doing that, are somehow
breaking the law,
doing something illegal. So don't.
Please don't. I like the CD Projekt came out and they were just like, nope. We already enough in the hole. We ain't about to stop. Please stop.
Please stop it before you make us spend more money. I'm gonna tell you what they can do. If they're worried about money, they need to get in Wall Street bets and get on this GameStop. Oh man! Also, now that I've said that, I do have to put this disclaimer out there. I'm not giving anyone any financial advice, nor am I suggesting that you should go look and get financial advice from Wall Street bets. And I think that's where we go in the episode. Let's go ahead and call this one an episode, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening to the Cool Black Nerd Podcast. Again, check us out on social media. Always go check out saywhatradio.com. There are several podcasts in our network that I think everybody would enjoy and love and just have a great time listening to.
Always. We out.